everybody. Welcome back to Success with Jess. And I have to tell you, when we prepped today's episode, I was so excited. Like, this is the most I've been excited since I've been locked in quarantine, I think. You know, like when we came up with the theme and the title and what we were going to talk about, I literally could not wait. And today, all day, I was like, it's almost time to record. It's almost time to record. I have so much to say. So I cannot wait to talk about 1-800 My Kid's a Star with you guys. It is going to be epic. But first, I wanted you to notice what is on my desk today. These beautiful little cups. Miranda, do you love them?
They're beautiful, if I do say so myself.
I mean, I may have had some help rhinestoning them from Miranda over here, but I've decided to name them Coconut, Blueberry, Raspberry, and Bubblegum. So those are their names, and I'm going to be doing a giveaway with these. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to be doing a giveaway, but I'm going to give these cups away. They kind of match mine. So, wow, mine is huge. So this is like the mama cup, and those are like the baby cups. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a giveaway in a few weeks on this podcast, and, you know, let's make it fun. Let's think of a fun way to do a giveaway. Yeah. You know, maybe we'll do it on Instagram. Maybe we'll do it on Twitter. Maybe we'll do it on Facebook. We got 4.
Yeah.
So like 4 winners. Like crazy.
You definitely needed a little more bling.
I feel like my desk is getting like brighter and brighter. And you know, JoJo didn't like the shirt I wore today. She said it was too plain. So I was like, hey, okay, it's fine. You know, no big deal. I mean, I like it. I got it at Target. I love Target clothes. Do you love Target clothes?
Love that. I was there today.
I love it. I love it. Every time I go to Target, I just like throw a couple shirts in. It's my favorite. Yeah. So today we're talking about 1-800 My Kid's a Star. About a week ago, Miranda, you told me to watch this documentary.
I sure did.
And, you know, I was like, all right. So it's called The Hollywood Complex, okay? And this documentary is epic. It is about all these moms that moved to Hollywood and want to make their kids a star. And they come out for pilot season and they fill their vans with all their kids. Their kids sleep on the floor. They sleep on the couch. Like, their whole goal is to make their kids famous over pilot season. And I am obsessed with this documentary.
It's so good.
It's so good. I watched it twice in 2 days. I texted all of my dance teacher friends and I'm like, watch this so we can all talk about it. So if you are at all crazy reality junkie like we are, you guys need to definitely watch The Hollywood Complex. And you know, Miranda, I think I could have been on that documentary.
I think so too. When I was watching it with my mom during quarantine, we were like, are there any parallels? Like, did Jess and JoJo live this life? And here we have today's show. And
here we are. So I'm going to tell you what 1-800 My Kid is a Star is all about. So have you ever been driving in your car listening to the radio when there's like commercials? You know, it's not XM radio where it's commercial free. It's the radio, you know, like where you have to like dial it in. Okay, so that's how I used to listen to the music in the car when my kids were little. And this commercial would come on and it would say, is your kid the next Disney star? Is your kid the next Nickelodeon star? Is your kid the next big thing? If your kid is the next big thing, call 1-800 My Kid's a Star. Well, guess what I did?
You called?
I called. I was like, oh yeah, I've got one of those kids right here in my back seat in the car seat. So I called this 1-800 My Kid's a Star and I set up my appointment. You had to go to the mall and your kid had to showcase their talent. So of course JoJo was a dancer. I mean, she was 3. She was like professional level then, okay? So we did this audition at the mall and JoJo wore a little sweatshirt and it had little Reese's peanut butter cup logo on it, a little brown skirt that was like a little waffly looking. So she kind of looked like a Reese's peanut butter cup. She had big pigtails in her hair and she did her little dance to Stupid Cupid and she did some somersaults, and the talent scout that was there loved JoJo. Okay, so we got the call back and we got to go to the hotel the next day. And we got to hear all about this lady, Kim, and all these kids that she had scouted, and she goes everywhere. And now this Kim, she had just validated what I had already thought, okay? Like, I thought my kid was a star, and I didn't know what Kim was selling at this, but I was buying it. Like, I was sitting there just like drinking the Kool-Aid, living my best life. You know, my kid's a star. So I'm listening to this seminar, and she's telling people that you could be a singer, and you look like the next Skippy peanut butter kid, and you look like the next juice box kid. And I'm just like, oh, yep, sign me up. Pay the money, sign JoJo up. We are doing this. So we got another call back. So she put us through, and we got another call back, and we were able to register for their classes. I mean, we were so lucky we got to pay to take their classes, right? Okay. I mean, and you know, it didn't matter. I don't remember how much it was, and I was asking my husband if he remembered how much it was, and we thought it was somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000. I remember at the time it was a lot of money to take these classes. It was a big commitment for us, and of course, I was like, Tom, I'll pay for some of it, and we'll be really serious, you know. And of course, he never says no. So he was like, yeah, just do it. Let's sign JoJo up. You know, like, we got to do this. And how do you get your kid famous if you live in Nebraska? Like, this could be a huge opportunity for JoJo. So we signed JoJo up, and we went to all these classes. And what it was is they taught you how to walk, how to talk, how to speak, how to do a monologue. You got to do a photo shoot. They taught you a commercial. You know, there was just like everything that you needed to be to go to Hollywood and make it big, right? And then they had this big competition in Florida, okay? And you go to this competition, and there's probably like 1,000 kids there, right? And they're all cute, and they're all talented. And so we're in line to register for this competition, and the line goes like around and around and around. And people are already like, oh my gosh, that girl's so cute. Oh my gosh, she's cute. You know, and so I'm just like, yeah, living my best life. It's like, what even was I back then? Like, oh my God, embarrassing. Okay. So we did this competition, and everybody liked JoJo. You know, ironically, she got like first place for her singing, first place for her photos. She didn't place for dance. Stop it. Yes. A little embarrassing. She got like first place for monologue. Like, she did so good. Like, I couldn't have asked her to do better. It was going so good. It was like a 5-day convention. On the second day, I called Tom, and I was like, you got to fly down here. Like, this is incredible, right? He came down, and back then, to buy like a quick spur of the moment plane ticket like that, you know, that was big for us to do. Now, I think I do that once a month. But like, you know, back then it was a really, really big deal to buy that spur of the moment plane ticket. So we bought it, and he came down, and then what happened is there was agents there, and there was casting directors there, and there were managers there, and I didn't really know what any of those people were. I just knew that I wanted JoJo to be famous, and I was stuck in Nebraska. So if they were interested in you, they told you, and you got like a little callback, and you could go to a meeting with these people. And so I would sit across from these people, and they would be like, we love JoJo. Where do you live? And I would say, Nebraska. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, you got to live in LA. You got to live in New York. You got to live in Atlanta. Like, Nebraska was just not a good place to say that you lived if you wanted your kid to be famous, you know? And so I met with this lady, Marsha Weissman, and she said, I'll represent JoJo, but you got to come to LA. You got to come to LA in October, and you got to commit to living there for 3 months. And I was like, sure, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. No problem. Yes. Okay. I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to tell my husband that we're going to like move to LA for 3 months? But I had to commit to that. You know, I had to like just say that we would do it and figure it out later. That's what my husband always tells me. He's like, you run into the room and you make a huge mess, and then you worry about it later. And that was exactly what I was doing. So we went home after that, and it was amazing. And like, a lot of people back then, and probably even now, would be like, that's a scam. You know, that's a scam. Don't do that. That's a scam. And I will tell you, it didn't make JoJo famous going there. That didn't happen. The casting directors for Nickelodeon and for Disney, they weren't there, and they weren't looking for JoJo. But I did meet some agents and some managers, and I learned the difference between the two. I didn't even know. You know, I learned what a casting director was, and I also learned that I needed to move out to LA. After going home and talking with Tom and talking with JoJo, we knew we wanted to get to LA. Well, it just so happened that Tom's parents they're called like snowbirds. They have a condo in Palm Springs, and they said that we could live with them. And so this was huge. Okay. So then I called Marsha, that was JoJo's manager at the time. And she said, awesome, but I need you to come out in October. And I'm like, oh my God, I finally got this whole like January thing worked out. And now you need me to come out in October. So I had to go out in October to get JoJo an agent. And so I talked my husband into it, and we found the cheapest hotel room possible, and we rented the cheapest car possible because that's what people do. And so we came out to LA, and I was scared. Like, I was super, super nervous. I had never traveled like to LA with my daughter, like to do this. And I remember being kind of nervous in the hotel at night, like, what if somebody breaks in? I was not the Jess then that I am now. And so the first agent that we met with, she says to me, she says, hi, did you research us? And I said, no, but I Googled her, but I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, I Googled you. And she's like, well, you should have. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I Googled you. And she was like, oh, like she thought I was lying then, but I wasn't. I'm not a liar. Like, the truth is the truth. And needless to say, she didn't take JoJo. She didn't really like me, and she didn't take JoJo. And I was kind of embarrassed, and I thought, oh man, this can't be how the trip's gonna go, And side note, I do drive by that building several times a week, and I always think, sorry, yeah, could have had her. But anyway, so then after that, we went to several more agencies to see who was a fit, and she had a lot of offers. And so then we ended up going with LA Models and Talent. The lady Tracy was unreal. She said I could call her anytime. I could call her every day. And she kind of understood that I was new and I wasn't living in LA and I didn't know what I was doing. And so we signed with her. She loved JoJo, and we went home. We celebrated Christmas, and then after Christmas, we packed our car. It was literally full. I remember just being stuffed in this car, and we drove to California without stopping. We didn't stop and get a hotel room. That was so long. It was crazy, and I think I drove for an hour, and Tom drove the rest. So we finally got to California. We're going to live with my in-laws. We have our agent. I'm just like, now we're going to make JoJo famous. I just thought it was just going to happen. And I remember taking JoJo for a haircut, and the lady said, what are you guys out here for? And JoJo was like, my mom said I have to get a J-O-B. I was like, embarrassing. But yes, JoJo, we're trying to get you a J-O-B. She just wanted to be Hannah Montana, I guess, to put it lightly. She just wanted to be Hannah Montana. We watched Hannah Montana all day, every day. We listened to it in the car, and that's what she wanted to be. So, we would go up to LA, and she would audition for things, and I would take her to the American Girl doll store while we would wait to hear if she got a call back. And we would go to the American Girl doll store, and I would say to JoJo, oh, honey, look at this beautiful little birthday set for the American Girl dolls. And she'd be like, no, I want the crutches. I'd be like, okay, cool. I was just kind of let her pick what she wanted as a treat for auditioning and doing good. And actually the first audition I took her to was for Verizon, and she had to go in the room without me, which I realize now you don't do. You go in the room with your kid. But at the time I was new, and it was fine. I mean, she was fine, but she looked at me and she just started to cry. And I was like, you can't cry, honey. You just have to go in there and read this little paper, what it says. And you come in with me. And I was like, no, you're fine. Just go in there. And you're in there for 20 seconds max. So that was her very first audition out here. I couldn't go in with her, and she cried. We didn't get a call back. And I remember another audition we went to was for Nestle. It was a print audition. And I got to the audition, and a lot of times in LA, what they'll do is they'll take a house that's maybe for rent, and they'll rent it for 3 days, and they'll have the audition there because people can be in different rooms, like a holding room, an audition room, and then a work room for the staff and stuff like that. So it was at this house, and the line was around the block. And you go in the house, and they smile, they take your picture, you hold your number up, and you leave. That's it. Thousands of kids for a little tiny print job. Not a callback, nothing for that. And usually, she did get a callback for some print stuff, and nothing really big, nothing really great, phenomenal, exciting happened while we were out here. then, and I remember going to church every Sunday, and I would look at the altar and I would say, God, if it's supposed to be, let it happen. But if it's not supposed to be, it's okay. You know, I just remember saying, like, I'm not going to fight it. If it's supposed to be, just let it happen. And then I was like, please let it happen. You know, like I just wanted it so bad for her, and she wanted it too. But we went home, nothing happened. And then the next year we decided to go back out again.
Wow.
Yeah. Lived with my in-laws, played with them. That year, JoJo decided she wanted to learn how to read. She didn't like going to auditions and not being able to read the script herself. And she was probably 5 at the time. She wasn't in kindergarten. So it was before kindergarten. And so she was probably like 4.5. And she said, I want to learn how to read. And I was like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to read. Here we go, you know? And I think in maybe probably 4 weeks, she was probably reading on a 2nd grade level. It was incredible the way we just had so much one-on-one time, and we did it every single day, and she just could not get enough. So she didn't become famous from living in LA, but she learned how to read. I got to have this incredible one-on-one time with her. She spent so much time in the pool, and that's kind of what happened with that for us. It was just 1-800, my kid's a star. Didn't make her a star, but it gave me this enormous education. You know, it taught me how to move to LA, what a manager was, what a casting director was, what an agent was. And ironically, when Marcia, her first manager, was telling us to come out there and stay, I said, where should we stay? And she said, you should stay at this place called the Garland. And we looked, and it was too expensive for us at the time. Like, we couldn't stay there. And it was beautiful. And she said, well, everyone stays there. And I was like, okay, we can't, but okay. And ironically, when we came out and filmed Dance Moms, when they did that time in LA, they put us up at the Garland.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy how full circle that came? And,
totally.
You know, Marcia was probably JoJo's manager for maybe less than a year, I would say. And she was wonderful. And honestly, we're not in contact with her anymore. And since then, we have a phenomenal manager, Karen, which is a crazy story in itself on how we met. We'll totally save that for another episode. Future episode. But yeah, it's just like, it's interesting how you get started. And when you're learning stuff at the time, you don't really realize what you're learning.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, when you're out on an audition, there are all these moms, kids. Was there ever a moment that you were like, yikes, glad we're not those people, glad we're not these crazy moms' daughters?
Well, first of all, I'll set the record straight. I am the crazy mom. Okay. I am the crazy mom. And I have to just take ownership of that. Yeah. Because when I had a dance studio, I used to laugh, kind of, and say, the crazier the mom, the better the kid's going to be. Because if I needed a mom to have a lesson before school or do something late at night on a Sunday, I needed a crazy mom. I didn't need a mom that was like, I don't know. I needed a mom that was like, yeah, let's do it. So I have committed to being the crazy mom. And when we did AUDC, the guy that casted us, I said, do you have any advice for me before I go film this show? And he said, yes, I do. Commit to the crazy. Commit to being crazy. And I was like, okay, I'm going to commit to being crazy. So now I commit to doing what I think is right. But a lot of times I have to like channel my inner crazy person to be able to say, no, we're not doing that. Or yes, we're doing that, and we're going to make it happen. So for all of you wondering, that's me. I'm the crazy mom.
You are the crazy mom.
Yes. But I will tell you, I would never let JoJo be sassy to me or misbehave. Like, we're not that kind of crazy. And I was never like bring someone else's child down to lift my child up. I'm not crazy like that. I would never sabotage anyone. One time, this is an amazing story. We went to Tulsa, Oklahoma for Dance Nationals. Okay. And I was excited. Like, JoJo and I road tripped up there, and JoJo was really good when she was little, and she should have done well at nationals. Like, we went suspecting that she would do well, and I got there, and this other little girl was very good too. So I kind of knew that it was going to be between JoJo and this other little girl, and sure enough, it gets down to those two. And fortunately, JoJo won. Okay. I mean, woo, right? So she won. It was one of those nationals where you get the big trophy and you get the big check. And it was a good one to win. Okay. Well, the other little girl came in second. And she's a beautiful dancer. And her mom comes up to me and she was like, you know this is wrong. My daughter should have won. And I was like, I don't know anything, but I know JoJo just won, so I gotta go. I'm like, I'm going on stage and taking pictures. And then I'm up on stage and I'm taking pictures with JoJo and my friend's taking pictures for us. And I see out of the corner of my eye this mom yelling at the competition director saying her daughter should have won and it was all wrong. And I'm thinking to myself, what if it was wrong? And what if JoJo didn't win? And I'm like, stop it, your kid just won. I'm like trying to say composed and not let this mom get to me. And we go in the dressing room and I'm like, don't talk to that mom if she comes up to you because I don't know what she's gonna say. She's mad that her daughter didn't win. And JoJo's like, huh? Okay. JoJo, she just doesn't really care. And it was so crazy. And I'm so mad at that mom for taking that moment away from me. And I vowed I would never treat people like that, that I would never, ever, ever do that. And honestly, then when we had to audition for AUDC, I had to tell my craziest dance mom story, and that was it. That was it. And I think that might have been part of it that sealed the deal. They knew. Yes. And so maybe that was just supposed to happen. My husband says everything happens for a reason. I don't believe that, but maybe that happened for a reason. Maybe.
Okay, so in the Hollywood Complex documentary, it touched on the serious financial investment that parents are making for their kids. And one mom said, I thought we would be here for 2 months and now it's been 4 years and I'm $180,000 in the hole. And, the struggles that they face to kind of make it work because they believe so strongly in their kids. So I'm just curious for you, when it came to money matters, what was your mentality to make it work?
It's hard. It was hard for us. I will tell you, I had JoJo in a very good preschool and right away I pulled her out because I was like, I can save money there. I stopped maybe coloring my hair and I colored it myself. I tried to cut corners wherever I could because I knew we were going to LA. Fortunately, we were able to live with Tom's parents, but there still was the expense of being gone and traveling out here and doing things when we were out here. But it's very expensive out here. For those parents that do have to come and do have to get a hotel room, or not a hotel room, I'm sorry, that do have to get an apartment, it's super expensive. And you can't go out to eat because that's expensive and you're cooking at home and you're waiting for your phone to ring. And it's a lot of money. It's a ton. And people will say photos aren't even the expensive part, honestly. It's just living here that's expensive. Even parking, just when you go to an audition, sometimes you got to pay $10 to park and they validate it, but sometimes you forget to get it validated. And it's just everything adds up. And I see people doing that. And it's crazy as parents what you'll do for your kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I am right there. I would give my kids anything. I would not have something so my kids could have it. And I'm sure every single parent here listening feels the same way. And I know when I had a dance studio, we would say, oh, we're going to get these new bags and these new hoodies. And this mom would say to me, that's fine. I just won't pay my heat bill this month. And I would be like, no, pay your heat bill and pay me later. I would try, but it's insane what parents will do. But that's parents. That is parents. And if you believe in your kid, I mean, I have to say, you have to go for it. You only got one shot. You got one life to live. You got one kid, but you also have to be realistic. I think to go in debt $200,000 to try to do anything is crazy. And my husband would say to me too, oh, we're spending this money doing this and we could be putting it away for college. And if we started putting it away now, it'll be 5 times greater when they're older. So you'd have to do what works for you. But yeah, it's expensive.
Wow. So another part of the documentary that I found so fascinating is these scenes where the kids and the parents get so excited after an audition and the energy is so high. And then it cuts to them in the car on the way home and the car's quiet and they're not getting the phone call and the editor plugs in didn't get the role, didn't even get a call back. What is that like post audition being in the car, anticipating what's going to happen or not happen next.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's kind of like a drug.
Yeah.
It's like, I say that because you have those highs and then you have the lows. And so you get the breakdown. You know, your agent calls you and they say, hey, they're looking for a little girl, a blonde haired girl that looks about 7. And you're like, oh my God, this is perfect. You know, it's such a fit. And you got your cute little outfit on and you're ready. And I also think as a parent, you just want people to love your children. You want people to be like, oh, she's so cute. Oh, she's so good. And so for someone to validate that, that's huge for a parent. And, you know, so you go and you're excited and your kid comes out and they're like, I nailed it. And that's one thing I've learned about JoJo is she always told me she nailed it. Always. And I do believe that she did in her mind, but I just wonder, you know, I wish I could see some of those tapes. And yeah, they just say that they nailed it. And then you leave and then you kind of wait for a call back or you wait for your agent to call you. And sometimes they don't. And sometimes you think, oh, what didn't they like about me? It's hard. You know, you have to have tough skin and you have to be able to take rejection because you're going to get rejected more than you're going to get not rejected. And even now in the dance world, you know, people's hearts are so out there. You know, they just want the job. They just want to work for you. And you have to protect your kid and protect their heart and make sure that that's not hurting their self-esteem. Like if I thought for 1 minute, so it was hurting JoJo's self-esteem, I would be out the door. And when we were on Dance Moms out here, we would do Dance Moms all day. And then we would run to auditions at night. And then we would run back and take dance class. And finally I was like, no more. All these people, they know you. They know what you look like. Like we're not doing this anymore. And she still booked jobs after that. But, you know, I was just like, we're just not going to do it. You have to do what's completely right for you.
Yeah. So we know Abby's Ultimate was like JoJo's big break.
Yeah.
But was there anything that you got called back for or got like really close to booking that didn't work out, but you're like, oh man, it was so close?
After we went home to Nebraska, this is like a secret. No one really knows this.
Ooh.
Yeah. After we went home to Nebraska, her agent called and said, we submitted JoJo for a movie and they want to put her on tape. So we put her on tape and we sent it in, which putting her on tape back then was a whole process because it was like a camcorder and like a VHS. And then you had to get somebody to convert it to a DVD. It wasn't like now where you could like do it on your phone and text it to them basically. And so we put her on tape and we made this tape and they liked her and they had us do another scene. So we sent in another scene. They liked her again. This happened 4 times. They kept asking for more and asking for more and she didn't get the role. Yeah. I do believe she got very, very close. And I think the biggest mistake I made was not getting on a plane and taking her out to LA and having her do it in person. I think just sending those tapes in, I thought at the time it was great. They just wanted tapes, but then I realized sometimes seeing JoJo in person, there's nothing like it. I mean, come on. Like if you've been to the Dream Tour, there is nothing like seeing that kid in person. Just tapes do not do it justice. So I think that was a mistake that I made.
Yeah, but it worked out.
It's fine.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Like my whole story is fine. I have no regrets. I absolutely love everything that we have done to get here. And I can't wait to see what we do to get where we're going. I don't even know where we're going.
Sky's the limit, baby.
Yes. I cannot wait. I mean, that documentary, I can't get enough of it. I wish that I would have been on it. I feel like they missed us. How did they not have us on it?
You, JoJo, Grandma and Grandpa Siwa, living the life.
And you know, when I first saw Dance Moms on TV, the first episode, I called my friend Joy and I'm like, how are we not on this show? Right. Why are they doing a dance show and we are not on it? Who is this Abby? Okay. And she's like, I don't know. Joy's really calm. She's like, I don't know. I never heard of her either, you know? And I'm like, don't you think we should be on it? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So, I mean, that was my first with Dance Moms. Like, why are we not on this show? Well,
funny how things work out, right?
Yeah. And every Tuesday night, like we would come home from dance and we would watch Dance Moms. And my husband at the time was like, you dance all day and you dance all night. Because I did dance all day with JoJo and some other homeschool kids. So you dance all day and you dance all night and then you come home and watch this show. And I'm like, yeah, but we love it. We're addicted to it. It's like the best show ever. And then we ended up on it. Like, how crazy is that? And I'm like, aren't you glad I watched it now? Even Jaden would watch it, though.
Oh, wow.
And we'd be like, Jaden, you got a crush on Maddie. And he'd be like, no. Oh, it's Paige you like, huh? We just would like always give him trouble. I don't really know who he liked, but he used to watch it with us and he didn't like dancing. So I don't know.
So there may be some families listening who might be ready, like you guys were, to call 1-800-MY-KIDS-A-STAR. Yeah. Or make the move to Los Angeles, or just kind of do whatever they feel is right to get this going for their kids. So
yes,
what advice do you have for them based on your own experiences getting JoJo going?
You got to do it.
Yeah.
You really have to do it. If you're thinking about doing something and you feel like it's the right thing to do and it's the right thing for your family, you got to do it. Whether it's do the route that I did and do one of those conventions, I mean, they're still around. I promise you. JoJo went back. The one she did is called The Arts now. And we just went back and thanked them for everything they've done and stuff like that. And JoJo did a little speech for them and met some of the kids that were there this year trying to do it. So like that could be the right one for you. Or you could just submit online now. It's so easy. You can take pictures of your kids and submit them to agents out here. You don't have to come out, and then right away if they like your kid or if they don't like your kid. But I definitely wouldn't come out here without having an agent or having some meetings set up. I wouldn't come out here cold like that. But yeah, I would do it. I mean, because they're always looking for new faces and new kids. And even when we had the little kid candy, or like the kid in a candy store video and the high top shoes video, I was like, let's find some new faces, let's bring some new kids into the mix. And when we did like this huge VidCon performance, I was like, let's bring some new kids. We're all about on our team giving lots of kids lots of opportunities. And I think over the years, like we have employed just ourselves, just Team JoJo, hundreds of dancers.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're trying, we're trying to give people work, and now with YouTube, I mean, hello, just make your own TV channel.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunities. I so feel like I should be in that Hollywood Complex documentary, and I hope that you guys watch it. I really hope that you watch it, and that's what it's like. And that complex is actually still around. It's not called the Oakwood anymore. It's called the Avalon. And I know a lot of great people that live there. I know their kids have a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun out here. And JoJo and I have worked so hard, but we've had a lot of fun. I feel like people say to me, like, what do you want? And I always say, I want my kids to be happy and I want to have fun. And I got one more quick story.
I'm ready.
I was so upset with Jaden the other day because he wasn't doing what I asked him to do. And I said to him, I'm like, Jaden, what do I want you to do? Like, what do I always tell you that I want? And he goes, you want me to be happy, Mom? And I'm like, besides that, Jaden, what do I want from you? And he was like, I know. So it was just like, I've ingrained in my kid's head that I want you to be happy. So no matter what it takes, if it takes moving to California and trying to book an acting job or book a print job or book a dance job, just go for it. If it makes you happy, just go for it. But thank you guys so much for listening to my podcast. We are going to be doing a contest to win these beautiful cups that are babies to my cup. And please subscribe. I want to tell you guys, subscribers mean a lot. They mean a lot to podcasters and YouTubers. You have no idea. On my channel, my listeners are 50% subscribed and 50% unsubscribed. So if you are not subscribed, now is your opportunity to have some fun and subscribe to my channel. And follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. And I love you guys so much. Thank you.